Football's football, man. Fundamentals are fundamentals. It's running, it's hitting, it's tackling, and he's one of the best I've ever been around at teaching that.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, looks like Kenneth Murray, who you traded for, has been running with the ones a lot through OTAs. What have you seen from him coming over from Tennessee so far?
Well, I'm going to go back. We played actually on my 50th birthday a couple years ago. We played in L.A., played the Chargers, and I remember they had him and Kendricks, and he's a great player too. But I remember going into that game really concerned about. I think he's wearing number 9, I think. But the athleticism, the power, the ability to diagnose, excellent tackler, physical. So a guy we've been watching for a couple years. Again, right now we're not doing 1s and 2s. We're rotating things around as we create competition, but he is not disappointed. You know, the same player that we saw in L.A. a couple years ago on Monday night, I think it was, is the same guy that we're seeing every day out there at practice. Really a great feel. Understands how to defeat blocks and fit gaps, and that's a big part of a guy that's got veteran experience and leadership, quite honestly.
John. What's going on, Cowboys Nation? It's your boy DMV back with another one. Damn. Shotty out here talking greasy. And I like it. I like it from a competitive standpoint, right? So 2 things can be true. I can like what's going on, but I can also reserve judgment because it's June, right? And I feel like I said this on a live yesterday. I feel like I've seen almost everything there is to see over this 27, 28 year, 30-year drought. I feel like there's everything. I feel like I've heard it all. You know, I've heard that we've changed. The culture has changed. Like, I remember when Wade came in and Bill Parcells left. And, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen the coaches' carousal thing happen. And because we get new change and because the energy feels different, we feel like whoever left, it was all a bad aura, and everything we have now is just great this and great that. And so that's why I am reluctant to kind of jump on that train. And I reserve that right. And to be honest with you, the Cowboys themselves, the players, the coaches, the organization, they have to be able to earn the trust of us fans. That's why I've been one to say, kind of pump the brakes, allow the process to be the process, like they try and tell us over the years, right? Allow the process to be the process, because right now, as the fans, we are the ones that they have to prove things to. They also have to prove things to themselves as well. Can't just be hot air. So I like the things that Shotty's saying. I like hearing about some of the guys we hadn't heard about. Starting to hear about Sanborn, hearing about Damone Clark, but most importantly, really hearing about Kenneth Murray. I really like hearing some of the things. And the thing that I really like about hearing from Shotty, right? This is the part that I think is different. Is him tapping into his coaching experience in the past and then giving a flashback to us. Because I saw a vivid picture of Kenneth Murray over with the Chargers wearing the number 9 and having to worry about him over there, and some of the things that when I closed my eyes and I saw that picture, I saw him flying around in that 59 jersey with the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm like, okay, I remember under Eberflus when we got a Rolando McClain. We lost Sean Lee for a while. Everybody thought that everything was done, and then he rejuvenated a Rolando McClain that everybody said he was a bust, or he was unmotivated and all that stuff. And you start seeing him be a guy that was an enforcer in the middle of our defense that year. I can see that rejuvenation with Kenneth Murray. And you also hear about Kaiir Elam, and he mentioned him as well. So some of these veterans out there who are having a second chance, and maybe they are selling us on some things. And again, there are some things that you can't do in OTAs, like he said in this interview, that the defense doesn't have the right to the ball like the offense. So there's a lot for us to unwrap with all of this, but I really like it. I like some of the things that I'm hearing.
John. Jonah Javad, WFAA. Brian, your enthusiasm in practice, your energy with players, from what we see and from what we've heard from players, it kind of jumps out to us. How important is that to you as a head coach to kind of bring that to your guys? Why do you feel that's important? And what was the genesis of all of that? Has that just been rooted in you from day one, or did you have to practice that as a coach versus maybe as a player?
Well, it's actually funny that you asked me that question, and I'll answer. And the reason I smile is the way we practice and the way that I act at practice. My father is looking down from heaven going, "What are you doing?" Like, that's not how you practice. But my father also coached a long time ago. And the type of athletes and type of young men that we're dealing with has changed. I believe that it's the coach's responsibility first and foremost to create a great practice environment. What do I mean by that? If we don't have energy and we're not into it and we're not running around and we're not talking shit, then the players aren't going to be able to do that because they're going to follow our lead. And when we show them that we're going to let our personality shine and we're going to be who we are and be joyful out of practice, then they're going to do that. And I think what I would say reminded me of that and what I really fell for that was my years in Seattle. I think I've talked to you guys a little bit about Pete. I mean, I remember Pete being, sorry, Pete, if I'm wrong, 72 or 1 at the time, and him running around the practice field with more energy than me, who was 40-something at the time. I'm like, damn, I got to get in shape. But I believe it. Like, I watched some incredible athletes that late in the season went out to practice, and maybe they didn't really feel like practicing, but when the coaches bring the juice and the energy and the vibe, then they're going to follow suit. And that's really impacted me at a high level.
Now we talking, Shotty. Now we talking. Now you speaking my language, all right? You scoot up a little bit. Now you speaking my language where you talk about energy. Energy does have to be there as a coach. That is what this team or what the teams will get from you. That is where I think in Mike McCarthy, in his circumstance, I don't think that he was able to dig deep in that bag of energy and bring it out when he needed to. That's something that I feel like Jason Garrett will swallow his damn stomach when things got tight. This is what we're going to need from Shotty when things get tough. Everything sounds good right now because there's no adversity. But what I like about what he said about Pete Carroll, there were times where the veterans might not have felt like practicing, and it's up to the coaches and the environment to bring that out. That's something that has been missing in this building. You know what I mean? Because I do think that there has been some level of folks feeling entitled. And hey, as a coach, if you got that energy and they ain't got that energy, then they don't need to be here. And I'm hoping that that type of urgency carries throughout, man. I really do. I really like that. Some of those things I've said as a coach myself. I've gotten other people's players before, and if they have the certain traits and stuff that I can work with, then I feel like I can get the very best out of those guys. And that's what it sounds like with Shotty. I like that. He's personable with these guys. He's figuring out what makes them tick, and then we're gonna attack that way. Now, with that being said, I'm hoping that we're not avoiding the tough conversations that need to happen. I'm hoping that guys are going into this thing realizing that they have to compete for their jobs on the roster. I'm hoping that those conversations are happening behind closed doors because, as I talked about, there are some guys here that are comfortable that shouldn't feel comfortable. Now, you want your guys to be able to perform at their highest level, right? And not to have that anxiety, but at the same time, some of these guys have to know what it is and what it's not. And so I'm hoping that those conversations are happening because if those conversations aren't happening, then true change has not been happening. So appreciate y'all for stopping by, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. How'd y'all feel about the press conference? I pulled a couple of things that I really felt that were important. Love the fact that Murray and some of these veterans are getting the opportunity. And I hope that when the pads come on, stays the same. You know what I'm saying? I hope that it stays the same and this team can get over the hump. Appreciate y'all, man. We out. Peace.
Turn the pressure up. I don't quit. I don't fold under pressure. I'm the best and I know I'm the best, then you know I'm the best.